Hi Singapore, you're watching episode 14 of SG Sports Uncut. I'm your host Raj Kumar, and Uncut is a show that brings you closer to our Team Singapore athletes and officials. On today's show, we throw a spotlight on floorball. Our national men's and women's teams are currently ranked 1 and 2 in Southeast Asia, and they are also placed within the top 20 in the world. In addition, we have more than 15,000 registered floorball players in Singapore. So for an extensive look on the sport of floorball, let's hear now from our friends from Singapore's Floorball Association. Hi guys, welcome to episode 14 of SG Sports Uncut. President of Singapore's Floorball Association, Kenneth will start this discussion with you, and we're 7 weeks into a brand new decade. What is the latest happenings at the SFA, Singapore Floorball Association?
Okay, firstly, I want to thank Raj for inviting us here for this SG Sports Uncut show. Okay, very happy to have floorball part of this show. Okay, so basically over the MC actually was re-elected into the association just recently in the last fourth quarter last year.
Okay.
So within our MC actually we had some shuffle whereby some of the MC members took up new positions in the committee. So in a way it brings fresh ideas and maybe a fresh start for the association leading to 2020.
Okay.
And also some of the key MC committee actually see some new subcommittee inside. They are not actually committee members, but just volunteers. So in a way that it also bring new ideas to these key committees, and also it allows us to have a succession planning for future, whereby some of these people in the subcommittee can actually step up to be the MC in future, and there will be a continuation of the management committee.
Yes. So MC of course stands for management committee, and you were re-elected for your second term.
Yeah, because we're going for another 2 years, serving another 2 years.
Congratulations. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I'm assuming SFA is also dealing with the COVID-19 virus. What is the NSA doing in relation to the fact that you have athletes and the community all competing at the moment as well?
So basically, the COVID-19 2019 virus actually affect a lot of Singaporeans, and floorball is one of the sports that is affected. So because one of our national school games is postponed indefinitely until further instruction from the Ministry of Education. So this NSG is actually quite important calendar event for our primary secondary schools students, because this is they are representing their school in this competition, and I think they've been training since the past holiday, December up till now. So it's quite a hit for them. Also, our league will also postpone for a week. Our national league was postponed for a week so that we can actually implement new precautionary measures for the players to ensure a safer environment for both players, officials, and also the spectators. So we actually implement some measures whereby we actually segregate the spectators and the players in certain venues, which allow us also that just like I said, just to have a safer environment. And so because of this virus, we are also working closely with IFF, International Football Federation, and Thailand Floorball Association with regards to the upcoming UFC qualifiers, World Champion qualifiers. So IFF is actually implementing some of the measures that we have taken for our league for this competition in Bangkok early next month.
Okay. I'm sure it all will bode well for the safety of everybody involved. Yeah. We're also joined in the studios today by Lim Jin Chuan, who's the national coach of Singapore's men's national team. Coach Lim, how do you feel when you first heard and came to know of COVID-19?
Hey, Raj, thank you for having us. I think when COVID-19 first came, I think the biggest struggle is that will the WCQ be still happening? I think that's the biggest World Championship qualifiers. So I think that's the biggest question that everyone on the team has, because after all we've been preparing since January, and then like this whole journey is like, what if we prepare and then we can't fly? What if we prepare and then this is not happening anymore? And it just feels like it's going to be a wasted effort. I mean, of course, no training that is amount to the athlete that is wasted, because at the end of the day, it benefits their body and their mind, the tactical will improve as a level. But however, the next consideration then, if this don't happen, what will happen to the World Floorball Championship? Who qualifies then? So these are a lot of question marks that was happening and this pertaining to floorball. And whereas like in terms of the well-being and the safety of our athletes, there's a lot of new system that we need to put in place. For example, when the situation changed to DOSCON Orange, the first thing we did was that we enforced that all athletes should have a thermometer and temperature have to be taken before training. And if they are unwell, they usually in time before COVID-19, if athletes were unwell, they usually be by the side watching with their mask on or whatever. However, but this time around, if they are unwell, they are advised to be rest at home already.
Okay.
So, and now with because of the shortage of thermometer, we finally be able to get a non-contact forehead thermometer. So it became easier for the athletes now that is centralized and it will be still taken rather than having to bring their own personal thermometer.
Okay.
So I think this is how we're managing. Of course, there is still the constantly lingering fear until it happens. We are still unsure whether will WCQ be
Postponed.
yeah.
Okay. So, and what about the men's squad? What have they been up to since the end of the SEA Games campaign in Manila 3 months ago? And has their training been affected by the virus?
As the training wasn't much affected because when it happened, it didn't hit Singapore that hard that quickly. So until then, our training was still was carried on. We took a break in December because the athlete had been spending a year long preparing. So we felt that the break was needed and necessary. After that, we resumed training in January, and we have invited a lot of younger players because of the transition that we're in. After the last SEA Games, there were 5 to 6 players that retire from the national team for various reasons, for work commitment, because they've been in the system for too long. They just want to take a break and focus on other aspects of their life. So it's very refreshing now with younger athletes. Obviously they are a bit more new, need a bit more time in terms of transition. But however, the greatest part is that they are enthusiastic about it. The energy level is high and they are eager to learn. I think that's positive, and it's comforting to the coach that the next generation looks healthy.
And raring to go, of course. Yeah. Let's hear now from Mohammed Shazni, who's the captain of our national men's floorball squad. And it's been 3 months now, Shazni, since the SEA Games in Manila. Your team came back with the silver medal. Any regrets over that campaign, considering you were going in as the defending champion from 2015?
Yeah, I think the biggest regrets is we don't bring back the goal. I think that's the most disheartening part, where we know that it's just that close. And I think that's the only regret I have, because I think throughout the tournament, as myself, I think the team have given our best throughout the games, but it's just a lack of period of time, especially the last period that we lost it out.
Okay. And so is that the game that you think you and your squad could have performed better in Manila? And
I would say that's the best game that we performed.
Right.
It's just that the last period, if we could have been performed, I mean, we did well in the first 2 periods. I think the last period, if our mental to be stronger and to not concede easy goals, especially in the last 10 minutes where we are 8-5 up. So these are the lack of mental focus and a few things that we lack of during that game that cost us the game. Especially when Thailand is having the momentum throughout the end, and even we are having 3 players during the golden goal period. So these are the things that I think is very, very important in the game, where we cannot, even though we concede that goals, even though we are 3 goals up in floorball, it's like every single second matters.
What was the final score, sorry? Just as a
penalty shootout.
It was a
penalty shootout, so it went on to the golden goal, and then it went to the penalties.
Wow.
So we lost up to penalties.
Kenneth, our Singapore men's team returned with the silver at the SEA Games, while our women won the gold. So before I get your reactions of the respective campaigns, let's take a look at what Richard Gordon, who's the head of High Performance Sport and Athlete Life at the Singapore Sport Institute, let's see what he said about floorball's performance during our SEA Games review when we did the show just after the end of the SEA Games about 2 months ago. Richard, let's touch briefly on floorball. And the women's team were able to defend their gold medal from 2015, but our men's team finished second. Did SSI project for both teams to win in the Philippines, and what's your take on the men's silver medal finish?
Okay, actually in our simulations beforehand, we anticipated that women would do well. And again, we hoped for the gold medal. They delivered that. Not only did they deliver that, they backed it up at the World Championships. So they went straight from the SEA Games, and they've improved their ranking in the world by going to the World Championships, playing for the 11th, 12th playoff.
Yeah, they arrived in Singapore. 24 hours later, they left for the World Championship.
That's correct. So, it's a tough old schedule, but they performed really, really well. The men, we didn't actually project them to win a gold medal. We hoped that they would.
Okay.
So they performed at the level that we thought. We knew the ties were going to be tough. But to lose in the in essence a draw, and then penalties was disappointing. Disappointing not because we think they underperformed, but disappointing because it was so close. I remember sitting watching them. They were 5-8 up, and the ties managed to pull back from them, which was a real shame because then the ties had the momentum going into the penalty shootout, and we just lost out on the penalty shootout. It could easily have been a gold medal, and that sport, it's on a knife edge. That sport, we just didn't deliver this time around. But I thought they performed credibly. I thought their performance was up to standard. They were within a whisker.
So Kenneth, what do you make of Richard Gordon's assessment of the teams that perform in Manila?
I think his assessment is very correct. Both our teams performed very well in the games. The guys team actually drew both their games against the eventually gold medalist Thailand. If you compare the results over the last few matches we played Thailand back in World Championship or World Champ qualifier, we didn't really do that well. So with this result, actually it gave our boys a huge mental edge in their future matches against Thailand, especially in their group stage match this coming March against in the qualifiers. Also, both teams, our women's team also performed very well. They show great mental resilience in the final, especially coming down from against Thailand to come back and win the game. So like I said, both teams performed very well in Thailand.
Okay. And what have you learned of both teams since their return, and you reflect on their SEA Games campaign overall?
Like I said, both teams performed very well, but we also have to take a look at the standard of the standard of floorball in Southeast Asia. It increased tremendously over the last since 2015 when the last game was last held in Singapore. Even countries like Philippines have caught up by a lot. Malaysia have some implementations in place for their association, so you can see their standard have all went up. So overall, I will feel that the competition went up and our teams have did very well despite this increase in standard in the opponents.
Okay.
But also I want to this opportunity to thank the Philippines Floorball Association and our host for taking care of both our teams over the SEA Games period. Contrary to the media reports, I think our teams felt very appreciated by the hosts, and all their needs are all well taken care of by the liaison officer and the staff from the hotel.
Yeah, because your campaigns began earlier before the opening ceremony, and there were certain media reports about this team arriving, that team arriving from different sports, no food, no transport, land up in the jungle. So all kind of weird stories came out. But great to know that floorball wasn't affected by anything else. Just before I move to Coach Lim, just one more question on the COVID. Just one more question about, isn't your NSA planning to host a blind safe goalie camp? I think in the next 1 month or 2 months.
Yeah, so this blind safe goalie camp is organized by one of our vendors, our local vendors, Floorball Nation, and SFA is proud to be supporting Floorball Nation in running this course with them. So this course is organized by Andis Blind, one of the top Latvian goalkeeper, and played in the national team for many years. So it's a good opportunity for the local community and also for our vendors to promote the sport. Okay, because learning especially for goalies, who are sometimes quite neglected in terms of trainings and stuff. So having this world class goalie coming down to run this program is good for them. Also, it's a chance for our national coaches to learn from him and his team on how to train a goalie well. In all, it's a win-win for both our community and also for the vendors. And it's not the first time that the association have partnered with vendors for running such events. Last year, we actually partnered with Classic Floorball Academy, who brought in some Finnish floorballers and also goalkeepers down to train our local athletes here. So, like I say, it's a win-win situation. So we hope to collaborate more with our vendors to bring more international talent down to our nation.
Yeah, that's exciting news for the goalkeepers especially. Like you said, we turn the focus to Coach Lim. Your men's team is now busy prepping for the World Championship qualifiers. We're only days away before it starts before you embark for Thailand. Perhaps for the benefit of our viewers, you could tell us a bit about this tournament, the format, and maybe the number of teams competing.
So the competition format is different from SEA Games. It's split across 5 days, across 7 teams, and the 7 teams are split into 2 groups. And in our group, we have Thailand, Malaysia, and New Zealand, and in the other group, we have Japan, Korea, and Australia.
Why only 3 teams in the other group?
Okay, because Philippines have previously was in that group, but they withdraw. We believe to be because of the Covid-19 situation.
Right.
Yeah. So now the other group has lesser in that sense.
Teams.
Yeah. So what happened is that right now the format is such that the top of each group will be playing the finals, and the second and third will compete in the semi-finals, and then if the winner will qualify for the World Floorball Championship in Helsinki in December this year.
So only one overall winner.
Yes.
One team will travel to the World Championship.
No, all four will travel.
4 will. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is it? In Helsinki.
Yes, Helsinki, Finland.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's your first time prepping the team for the World Cup qualifiers. Is your preparation any different from getting the team ready for the SEA Games, for example?
I think I'm excited because it's easier this time round as compared to before. Because in SEA Games, I took over the job only in April last year, and what happened is that the competition was in end of November, so I effectively have about 6 months to prepare.
Okay.
Whereas for this World Floorball Championship, I have a good adequate a year. If we do qualify, of course, we're looking to qualify for the championship.
Men's team captain Shazni, 9 months ago, Singapore won the Oceania Floorball Confederation Cup, which took place in the Philippines. How does that experience and that of competing the SEA Games help with your preparation now for the World Champ qualifiers?
I think it gives us a good stand on how do we fare in the world stage, especially in Asia, and playing against other teams. Again, it's a good prep to play against Thailand, but of course Thailand is not a full squad before we play them again in the SEA Games. But it's a good thing that we can see how a team like Japan and etc. A few teams, but Australia wasn't there for the competition for the cup. So it'll be good to see how much they progress for this competition. It'll be quite surprising because they did pretty well for the last World Champs in 2018. They went to the top 12 stage. So I think they will be a good team to watch, and pretty confident that the team has prepped well throughout the year, especially with various competition for us, and hoping to do well for these upcoming qualifiers.
The other group B, has the likes of Australia, Japan, and South Korea. That sounds like a very strong group. But I understand floorball and football is a different. I mean, if you say football, so floorball is slightly different.
Yeah, with floorball, I think I would say Japan. I don't know about Korea, but last time they used to be quite strong. But as of now, I don't think they are as compatible as Japan and Australia.
Okay.
I think
so. It's more an equal playing field. Okay. What is your personal target to achieve in Bangkok next month?
Definitely nothing less than the goal. I mean, the first place for the qualifiers. Because it's been a while since we gotten the first place. And the last time was in 2010 or 2012 that we won the qualifiers. So it's been quite a number of years since we are top. For the previous competitions, we have been in the second place throughout.
Okay.